Pamela Kreimeyer. Let's start in rural Iowa, October 26, 2019. The Kreimeyer family was getting ready for a party. 56-year-old Pamela Kreimeyer was excited to find out the gender of her grandchild. The family, wanting to do something special for social media, decided to build their own explosive reveal device. Their plan was to pack a metal tube with gunpowder and colored powder so it would shoot a festive cloud of pink or blue into the air. But then they made a fatal mistake. To make the explosion more dramatic, they sealed the top of the metal tube with a piece of tape and a wooden board. They had just, completely by accident, built a perfect pipe bomb. When they lit the fuse, the device didn't just release a colorful puff of smoke, it detonated. The metal tube fragmented, sending high-velocity shrapnel flying in every direction. Pamela was standing about 45 feet away. A piece of metal, flying faster than a bullet, struck her in the head. She was killed instantly. The projectile had so much force that after passing through her skull, it continued for another 400 feet before landing in a field. The sheriff's office later released a statement explaining that the family had inadvertently created a lethal explosive device. A celebration of new life ended by killing the baby's grandmother with a homemade IED, all for a video. The irony is just brutal. Charles Morton. Sometimes the victim of a gender reveal isn't a guest or a family member. Sometimes it's the person who has to clean up the mess. Meet Charles Morton, a 39-year-old veteran firefighter, a squad boss for the elite Big Bear interagency hotshots in California. He was the guy you call when a fire gets out of control. On September 5th, 2020, a couple held a gender reveal party in El Dorado Ranch Park near Yucaipa, California. It was peak wildfire season. The air was hot, the grass was dry as tinder. They decided to use a smoke-generating pyrotechnic device for their big announcement. The device malfunctioned and instantly ignited the dry grass around it. The fire spread with terrifying speed. This wasn't a small brush fire. Nope, this became the El Dorado fire, a monster that would go on to burn for over a month, scorching more than 22,000 acres, destroying homes and forcing thousands to evacuate. And for 12 days, Charles Morton and his crew were on the front lines, battling the inferno. On September 17th, while fighting the very fire that started with a puff of colored smoke, Charles was killed in the line of duty. The exact details of his death weren't released, but in those conditions, it's a horrific mix of extreme heat, smoke, and trauma. The couple who started the fire were later charged with involuntary manslaughter. Their little party to reveal their baby's gender didn't just cause millions in damages, it cost a hero his life. Rest in peace, Charles. The Mexican Air Force. You'd think that after one plane crashed and killed someone at a gender reveal, people might stop hiring planes for gender reveals, right? But you'd be wrong. Of course, in Mexico, it happened twice in just a couple of years, creating a mini trend of fatal flyovers. First, September 2nd, 2023 in Sinaloa. A couple stands under a giant "Oh Baby" sign. A small plane, a Piper Pawnee, swoops in low, releasing a plume of pink smoke. It's a girl! The couple embraces, the guests cheer. But as the plane pulls up, its left wing suddenly folds into the fuselage. The aircraft spirals out of control and crashes just beyond the party. The 32-year-old pilot was pulled from the wreckage alive, but died in the hospital. The most chilling part of the video? The partygoers keep cheering, completely oblivious to the fact that the pilot who just delivered their news is dying a few hundred feet away. Now, rewind 2 years earlier, to March 29th, 2021 in Cancun. Another party, this time on a beach. Another small plane flies low over the water, trailing pink smoke. "Niña, niña," the crowd screams. "It's a girl!" The plane continues over the Nichupte Lagoon, and then just nosedives straight into the water. This time, both people on board, the pilot and co-pilot, were killed. One died on impact, the other after being rescued. Two different parties, 2 different planes, same pink smoke, and a total of 3 dead pilots. All so a couple could get a dramatic video for Instagram. The people hired to perform the stunt are sacrificed for the shot, while the families on the ground are left with a video that is equal parts celebration and snuff film. Evan Thomas Silva. Okay, so this next one wasn't technically a gender reveal, but a baby shower. Yet it's driven by the exact same fatally stupid impulse, the need for a bigger bang. On February 6, 2021, in Gaines Township, Michigan, friends and family gathered to celebrate an upcoming birth. Among them was 26-year-old Evan Thomas Silva from Heartland, Michigan. He wasn't a stuntman, not a pyromaniac, just a friend at a party. The mood was light, people talked, laughed, unwrapped gifts. Then someone decided it was time to kick things up a notch. The homeowner had recently bought a small cannon at an auction, a so-called novelty or signal cannon meant to make a loud bang, a flash, and some smoke. Not a weapon of war, just a party gimmick. It had been fired before without issues, which probably gave everyone a false sense of security. This time they set it up in the backyard, loaded it with gunpowder, likely more than it was ever designed to handle, and got ready for the big boom. Only the cannon didn't perform like a cute noisemaker. It didn't go boom and spit out a harmless cloud. Pressure built up inside, the metal couldn't take it, and the whole thing ruptured like a grenade. Metal fragments tore through the yard, hitting cars, peppering the garage, and slamming into the guests. Evan was standing about 10 to 15 feet away when a chunk of the cannon hit him. One piece of flying metal was all it took to turn a healthy 26-year-old into a critical trauma case. He was rushed to the hospital, but his injuries were too severe. Evan died not long after the blast. Investigators later concluded that the cannon was overloaded, never built for that amount of pressure. It didn't fire a projectile, it became the projectile, turning from antique-looking party prop into a DIY shrapnel bomb. No criminal charges were filed in the end. It was ruled a tragic accident, not a deliberate act. But that doesn't change the underlying mindset. This wasn't about safety or common sense or just having a nice afternoon. It was about a bigger bang, a more dramatic moment, a better video. And at a party meant to celebrate a new life, a guest lost his own because of one stupid, explosive stunt. Christopher Pekny. There's a special kind of tragedy when the person killed at a gender reveal is the father-to-be himself. He never even gets to meet the child, whose gender he was so excited to announce. That's the story of 28-year-old Christopher Pekny from Liberty, New York.
Hello!
On February 21st, 2021, Christopher and his brother Michael were in their garage working on a homemade gender reveal device. Just like the case in Iowa, it was some kind of pipe designed to explode and shoot out colored powder. Christopher was mechanically inclined, his family said. He was just tinkering, trying to build something cool for his first baby. While they were assembling it, the device suddenly and violently exploded. The blast was so powerful it was heard around the neighborhood. When first responders arrived, they found a scene of carnage. Christopher Pekny was dead. His brother Michael was seriously injured. The New York State Police Bomb Disposal Unit had to be called in to investigate what exactly had gone wrong. It's the same sad story. A guy excited about becoming a dad decides to play with explosives. He underestimates the power, he makes a small mistake in the design, and the device he's building to celebrate his child becomes the bomb that kills him. He died in his own garage, killed by his own creation, leaving his partner to have their baby alone.